taking you in this moment. Come get close like you own it. Read your aura, you want more of all this life.
This is going to be a really casual video. I've literally just decided to do it right now. So we're going to do the end of year book tag. I've never done it before. I don't really do book tags often, but I decided I wanted to do one and I thought it'd be a fun extra video for the end of the year. So let's get started. Grab your cup of tea. I don't know how long this is gonna be. The first book, so, is a favourite book. I don't have a favourite book. I have read that many that I've absolutely adored this year. I don't really have a favourite one. I think, so one of my favourite, like, what's a book I always recommend to people? Let me have a look. This is really bad. I can't remember, like, what books I've read. I always recommend to people Beck and Mac's books. So Play With Me by Beck and Mac, which is an ice hockey romance, has definitely been one of my top 5 for definite. I absolutely love that series. I cannot wait to read Unravel Me. I am so excited to read Unravel Me. I am beyond excited. I'm going to get it on my Kindle ready because I'm just basically been reading on my Kindle recently rather than physical books. It's just a lot easier when I'm having flare-ups. Another one is Breakaway by Grace Riley, another ice hockey romance. That is in one of my top 5 books as well for this year, and that is just a coach's daughter, his like top player, and basically she has a spicy list and they go through that spicy list and they fall in love, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the final one is The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. That is a basketball romance. It's the second one in a series and it's just, Ryan Shea is beautiful. Like, he's this man where it's like, oh, I'm not jealous, and he's like the really jealous type, and he is just like book boyfriend like of the year. Everyone needs to be like him. And just The Right Move. If you want to read good sports romance series, Liz Tom Ford books, the Mile High, The Right Move. I haven't read Caught Up yet, but from what I've seen it sounds amazing. And them 3 for sports romance, the first 2 were amazing. They were all 5-star reads for me, so they'll probably be my top books of this year, to be honest. So the next one, favourite author. So my instant buy authors now are Grace Riley. I absolutely loved the first 2 books in her series. I've got the last one to read. As you can tell, I've started the series, loved it, and then haven't read the last one, so I'm going to get on that. So Grace Riley, instant author now. Another instant author is Liz Tom Ford. I literally, anytime she comes out with a book, that is instantly bought. I love Liz Tom Ford. My favourite author is still Penelope Douglas. I still absolutely love Penelope Douglas. Penelope Douglas is everything. I collect all of her books. I have American copies of her books. I have the indie copies. I have the British copies. Like, she is beautiful. Chef's kiss. Sorry about this lighting going in and out, by the way. I'm in my living room. The lighting isn't very consistent because of the sun coming in and out, so I hope it's okay. But yeah, Penelope Douglas I think she's always going to be one of my top authors. Who else have I absolutely loved this year that I buy anything of? I think Beck and Mac. I did instantly buy her Beck and Mac's books. So them 3. As you can tell, I think I'm just in my sports romance era this year. Like, sports romance is just everything, to be honest. A book you will always reread. Controversially, I will always reread Harry Potter. This is more of a comfort thing for me. So since being about the age of 6, Harry Potter's been like my world to escape into. And whenever I'm feeling stressed or anything, I always go to Harry Potter. So I will always reread Harry Potter, like that whole series. I will just start it from the beginning whenever I need to. I need to read the last book actually, but I'm saving it for when I need to. And I will just reread that entire series every time. I don't really think about rereading books. I think if I was going to reread a book, it'd be Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas, because that's what started my Penelope Douglas addiction, and Birthday Girl. I think they're the 2 books that I would reread, Birthday Girl and Punk 57 for definite. I would definitely reread them, but I don't really think about rereading books. at all. I think the only books I'm thinking of rereading are books such as like the Immortal Instruments series that I read when I was younger that I want to finish because I never finished it. That sort of thing. They're the sort of books I would reread, which I'm very tempted to do actually. I'm trying to read more fantasy, so I might do that for a video, like rereading old books, but you know, we'll see. The next one, biggest surprise. My biggest surprise was Fourth Wing. For definite. I was like, I'm not going to read it, I'm not going to read it. And then everyone was saying how it's such a good book for if you're a romance reader wanting to get into fantasy, and I was like, right, okay. Gave it a go. 6-star read. I devoured it. Like, I absolutely loved it. I haven't read Iron Flame though because everyone's saying it's a bit meh, so I'm like, I'd rather wait until the third one's coming out and kind of save it. But if I'm in the mood to read Iron Flame, I'll pick it up and I'll read it. I'm just not in the mood for it, but I was so excited to get it. And then I started reading it, saw Liam's name, and I was like, I'm not emotionally ready for it. So Fourth Wing has definitely been a surprise because reading Fourth Wing made me read fantasy again and like try and get back into it, because as a kid all I used to read was fantasy. Like I used to read like the Immortal Instruments series and all of that. Like I used to just read fantasy, so that got me back into fantasy a little bit. So hopefully it carries on this year, because I've got like Powerless to read, I've got Brandon Sanderson I want to try, I've got loads of books fantasy books I want to try, and Fourth Wing was the biggest surprise due to that reason. A book that made you cry. Well, a lot. I cried at The Score, I believe. Yeah, The Score by Elle Kennedy made me cry, and then The Graham Effect. Both of them made me cry, and it's because of Boo. So something happens in The Score that then you don't read about it, but then whilst you're reading The Graham Effect, you realise something in your brain, and then you just instantly start crying. I did a whole TikTok video, but I don't have any spoilers. But yeah, them two books definitely made me cry this year. Fourth Wing made me boil. Like, I was crying my eyes out with Fourth Wing for at least 2 hours. With what happened, I was just sobbing uncontrollably. So yeah, but the Scar one, that made me cry uncontrollably as well. There is a video on YouTube with that, which I think is really funny, of me just crying. What books? The thing is, when I cry at books like a little bit, but this year books haven't fully made me sob. I think they're the 3 books that have made me like sob, just because I've been avoiding sad books, honestly. I might do a video where I read sad books, because I've got a few now on my shelf. But yeah, they're the 3 books that made me sob. The Graham Effect didn't make me sob, it was a realisation of something that made me sob, if you know what I mean. It wasn't like, oh, it made me sob, it was the fact of something happened and I was just crying from the realisation of it. Most read genre so far, let me get up this photo that I have on my phone. Most read genres so far. I did this that everyone's been doing. It's like somebody made the Spotify Wrapped thing. So most read genres is romance with 84 books. 79 of them were contemporary romance, and then 24 fantasy books. So they were my top 3 genres, which makes sense. I don't really read anything else other than romance. So it makes sense that that is the main one. So obviously I'm a romance reader. Romance was on that list, with the majority of them. So yeah, but like on here, it's like 84 books were romance, 79 of them were contemporary, so quite a lot of them. My top author on here was actually Penelope Douglas, which makes sense. Newest favourite character, Cooper Callahan, Breakaway. Freaking love Cooper. I don't know what it is. I think just reading about Cooper made me fall in love with him, and I was like, Cooper, absolutely. I've got a few new book boyfriends. Cooper's definitely one of them. Luke Ryder. Another one. That's a Graham Effect. I read the entire Elsie Silver series, so just like Boo from that series is everything. And then from Pucking Around, the Finnish god himself. Yes. So that's just some new characters that I've fallen in love with. least favourite book. My least favourite book, I DNF'd it, and it was The Villain. No, let me get it up because I DNF'd it. There's a few I've DNF'd actually, but this one was awful, and it's Assistant to the Villain. It was disgusting. I hated every second of it. I read it and I was reading it and I was like, why am I forcing myself to read something that's not even good, in my personal opinion? Like, they found her in a forest and he was like, you could be my assistant, and then nothing happened, and you're like, okay, you're the assistant to the villain, but the villain isn't being villainous. You're also in a fantasy world that's in a modern world, but then when you leave that modern world, you're back into a fantasy world where there's no money and that's like cottages and things. That does not make sense. It was, no, I DNF'd it so quick. I've DNF'd so many books though. New fictional crush. I think I kind of covered that with new favourite characters, because my new favourite characters are also fictional characters that I have crushes on. But yeah, Cooper Callahan, the Finnish god himself from Pucking Around, Luke Ryder, Boo, yeah, any ice hockey person, honestly, if they do ice hockey, I'm there. That is my personal thing. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the end of year book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a bit of fun. It was actually quite nice just to sit and chat and go through a few questions with you guys. I hope you did enjoy. Please do comment down below any book videos you would like to see, because I would absolutely love that. I would love to get to know what books you would like me to read, or what videos you would like me to read. Do let me know, because I'm going to try and stay more consistent on here as much as humanly possible. So do let me know, and yeah, I hope you enjoy your day, and I hope you have a good 2024. Cheers.
Taking you in this moment, come get close like you own it. Read your aura, you want more of all this love, you'll be